Ladies and gentlemen, if we can have your attention, please. Tonight is our Armed Forces Night, our military appreciation night. The first 1,000 fans of you through the gates got our great military card set presented by Xfinity. And now we're going to meet those heroes that are represented in that card set presented by Xfinity. They're going to come out and line up along first base. First stop for us, a diesel mechanic from the U.S. Army, Roy W. Allen, Jr. Roy, who is joined by his son, he joined the United States Army in 2003 and was stationed in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. While with the National Guard in Streator, and was deployed to Iraq in 2006 and 2007. Today, a district manager for Advanced Auto Parts. Roy currently resides in Peoria. Diesel mechanic in the U.S. Army, Roy W. Allen, Jr. Next, we have Greg Corcoran from the U.S. Navy, joined by his family. Greg was sent to Pensacola, Florida for aviation boatswain mate training. He then served aboard the USS Eisenhower, Naval Weapons Station Yorktown, and Naval Station Norfolk. Greg was medically discharged as an E4 Petty Officer, 3rd class, due to a spinal injury sustained in August 2001. From the U.S. Navy, Greg Corcoran. Next, we have Sergeant 1st Class from the U.S. Army, John Fegan. With his family, John Fegan joined the U.S. Army in 1991, was active duty from 92 to 95 as a 13B cannon crew member, then joined the Army National Guard and Flight Operations Specialist in Bartonville. Mr. Fegan went to infantry school in 2001 at Camp Robinson, Arkansas, and currently is stationed with the 661st Engineer Detachment in Galesburg as a platoon sergeant. He served 1 tour in Iraq and a tour in Egypt while receiving many awards throughout his career. Sergeant 1st Class of the U.S. Army, John Fegan. Next, we have Command Sergeant Major of the U.S. Army, Alan P. Freeland. Command Sergeant Major Freeland was a non-commissioned officer in charge of operations with the 65th TCB for roughly 3 years. He enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1975 as a combat engineer. He was deployed in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom in December of 2003 as a non-commissioned officer in charge of operations with the 1st Battalion, 106th Aviation Regiment in Peoria. Command Sergeant Major of the U.S. Army, Alan P. Freeland. Next, representing Caleb Lufkin, we have his brother, Taylor Lufkin. Petty Chief Officer of the U.S. Army, Caleb Lumpkin, passed away in surgery in May 2006 at Walter Reed Medical Center from injuries sustained from a roadside bomb in Baghdad. Caleb was featured in a CNN documentary, Baghdad ER, and made it home to be treated at Walter Reed. He tragically and unexpectedly, due to a clot in his last major surgery, passed away on the operating table. Like so many who have served, he was a really great kid and deeply loved. Representing Caleb Lufkin here today is his brother, Taylor Lufkin. Next up, representing Seaman of the U.S. Navy, Nicholas James Murphy, we have his parents, Ed and Teresa Murphy, brother Grant, brother Alec, and sister Lainey. Seaman Nicholas James Murphy was killed on November 19, 2016, while serving in the Navy. He's a local hero who saved a fellow sailor's life by pushing her out of the way of a speeding car, while saving 6 more lives by donating all of his organs after his death, and all were successful surgeries. Murphy recently received the American Red Cross Humanitarian Award on April 7th of this year. He continues to be a hero through the Nicholas J. Murphy Foundation, where you can learn more at nickmurphyfoundation.com. Representing seamen from the U.S. Navy, Nicholas James Murphy, we have the Murphy family. Representing Frank J. Razzo, we have his grandson, Cody Razzo. Frank J. Razzo was a corporal in the U.S. Army, joined the Army in 1942 in the height of World War II, was a member of the 90th Infantry Division, 358th Regiment, known as the Tough Hombres. Departed the U.S. by boat in March of 1944, spent over a year and a half in the theater, fought in battles such as the Normandy invasion and others. He currently resides in Chillicothe while being active around his garden. He's the father to 9 wonderful children, husband to his late wife, Mary Razzo. Representing Corporal for the U.S. Army, World War II, Frank J. Razzo, his grandson, Cody. Representing Sergeant from the U.S. Army, Douglas James Riney, we have his wife, Kylie Riney, daughter Ella, and son James. Sergeant Douglas James Riney was killed in Afghanistan on October 19th, 2016. He was a fueler stationed at Fort Hood, Texas, who joined the Army in 2012, a volunteer firefighter as well, and his home of Fairview, Illinois. Representing Sergeant U.S. Army Douglas James Riney, Kylie Riney, daughter Ella, and son James. Representing Martin V. Rosenwipe, we have Donna Rippey. Private First Class in the U.S. Army, Martin V. Rosenwipe served his country in the Caisson unit at Arlington, Virginia. His unit provided military funerals for fallen heroes at Arlington National Cemetery, and he served in 288 funerals during his time with the unit in Arlington, Virginia. Representing Private First Class of the U.S. Army, Martin V. Rosenwipe, is Donna Rippey. Next, we have Petty Officer First Class of the U.S. Navy, Todd Sack, and family. Petty Officer First Class Sack was born and raised in Peoria, joined the Navy right out of high school, went to boot camp in San Diego, then led on several tours in the United States and overseas. Served as a culinary specialist, also with the military police, and as a warehouse manager. He retired in 2005 and currently resides in Peoria with his wife Michelle and son Michael. Petty Officer First Class of the U.S. Navy, Todd Sack. Next up, Corporal for the United States Marine Corps, Michael S. Sumner. Corporal Mike Sumner served in the United States Marine Corps from 2003 to 2007. During that time, he served 2 operations in Iraq. He earned 2 combat meritorious promotions, was awarded a Purple Heart with a Combat Action Ribbon. His unit, the 2nd Battalion of the 7th Marines Weapons Company, was also awarded the Presidential Unit Citation. Mike is now a proud member of Millwright Union Local 1051, which he joined through Helmets to Hard Hats. Corporal of the United States Marine Corps, Michael S. Sumner. Next we have Staff Sergeant of the United States Marine Corps, Raymond Nicklin. Staff Sergeant Nicklin enlisted in the Marine Corps right after high school. After completion of boot camp training and graduation, he served in infantry training. SS Nicklin served in a multitude of assignments during an 8-year career. Some of his service awards included the National Defense Service Medal, 2 Presidential Citations, 2 Marine Corps Good Conduct Medals, 3 Meritorious Massed Rifle Expert, and Pistol Sharpshooter badges. From the United States Marine Corps, Staff Sergeant Raymond Nicklin. We have 3 others on the card set as well who could not be with us today. Jeffrey Slaughter, a technical sergeant of the United States Army Reserves, who's currently in the Air National Guard. We also have Todd Glisson of the Embarkation Logistic Chief in the United States Marine Corps, and Zechariah Randalls, who is a sergeant in the United States Army Reserve. Actually, we do have one of those here. Emily Slaughter is here representing Jeffrey Slaughter. My apologies. Jeffrey Slaughter, a technical sergeant, United States Army Reserves, currently in the Air National Guard. Technical Sergeant Slaughter was in a convoy attack on April 9, 2004. Since then, he's moved on to a new military career as a loadmaster and has flown several missions, including being part of the most recent deployment in which they set new records providing supplies downrange to troops. Representing Technical Sergeant of the U.S. Army Reserves, currently in the Air National Guard, Jeffrey Slaughter, is Emily Slaughter. And that last one, Zechariah Randall, Sergeant of the U.S. Army Reserve, his card included in this as well. Big thanks to Xfinity for providing this card set today. Let's give a huge round of applause to all of our heroes in Military Appreciation Night and our military card set. Thank you.